After being drafted by Cleveland in 2018, Baker Mayfield helped transform a winless team into a winning team. It wasn't long ago that the star quarterback was seen as one of the rising stars in the NFL and the future of Cleveland sports. However, in just 1 year, it all fell apart. The Browns thought they had the foundation they needed and the leader that they wanted. But in the midst of the 2022 NFL season, Mayfield is no longer on the Browns and the team is left at a crossroads going into the future. This is the story of how the Browns gave up on Baker Mayfield. For starters, we have to go back to a crucial moment in Browns history. The end of the 2017 season saw the Browns at their lowest point ever, becoming the second team in NFL history to finish the season 0-16. For years, the Browns could not find the right quarterback, and so the front office knew what to do. And it's easy to understand why they picked Baker Mayfield first overall. The Browns needed a winner at the position and one that had a competitive spirit and a fiery attitude, and Mayfield was exactly that. As in 3 seasons at Oklahoma, he won 3 Big 12 championships and produced a 34-6 record. While Mayfield was electric on the field, he found himself in some troubling situations during his senior campaign. One such problem occurred in Arkansas back in 2017, where an intoxicated Mayfield attempted to flee from the cops. After being arrested on various charges, Mayfield would apologize. In the same year, Oklahoma would go on to beat Ohio State on the road, and after the game was over, Mayfield ran to the center of the field and planted an OU flag on top of the iconic Block O. This caused even more outrage, prompting Mayfield to issue another apology. Then, in a game against Kansas, tensions rose between both teams, and Mayfield reacted by yelling expletives at the crowd and making inappropriate gestures to the Kansas sideline. The situation immediately put Mayfield in his most controversial position yet, and head coach Lincoln Riley reacted by benching Mayfield for the team's opening drive on senior day and revoking his captaincy status. A remorseful Mayfield would apologize once more. These issues didn't stop Mayfield though, as he threw for 4,627 yards, 43 touchdowns, and just 6 interceptions. And for these efforts, he was awarded the 2017 Heisman Trophy. Mayfield was off to Cleveland, and fans were eager to see him play at the next level. However, the organization had a different plan in mind. Surprisingly, the Browns stuck with head coach Hugh Jackson and signed veteran quarterback Tyrod Taylor, a guy who Mayfield could learn from. Instantly, the Browns were a completely different team. In what should have been a win, the Browns missed a go-ahead field goal in the opener against the Steelers, ending in a tie. The following week, they outplayed the Saints, but lost due to self-inflicted errors. Against the Jets, Taylor was injured, and Mayfield stepped in. Mayfield immediately made a difference, going 17 of 23 for 201 yards, completing a 14-point comeback in the process and securing the Browns their first win in 2 years. Still, the Browns would end up struggling, and after a 2-5-1 start, the Browns finally fired coach Hugh Jackson. Cleveland immediately became a better team, and they finished the season 7-8-1, their best since 2007. The hype surrounding Baker Mayfield and the Browns was massive. Mayfield finished his rookie season with 3,700 yards passing, 27 touchdowns, and just 14 interceptions, which were fantastic numbers for a rookie. But while Mayfield was being hyped by fans everywhere, the Browns were looking for a new head coach. Concerned about Baker's future, the Browns hired interim offensive coordinator Freddie Kitchens. The move sparked some debate, but fans were still pumped for the future, and everything was falling into place. Or so it seemed. In the 2019 season opener, the Browns were crushed by the Titans. Mayfield threw 3 interceptions, and after the game, many criticized him, saying that the quarterback was not taking football seriously enough. Baker responded to the media, stating, "They're a great football team, and anytime you hurt yourself, you're not going to win. I think everybody just needs to be more disciplined. I think everybody knows what the problem is." The Browns did beat the Jets again, but after that, things just didn't improve. They were inconsistent all season long, and they finished the year with a 6-10 record. Baker Mayfield saw his numbers drop to an awful 22 touchdowns and 21 interceptions. Freddie Kitchens was fired, and the Browns needed to adjust. The Browns turned to Kevin Stefanski, an offensive assistant from Minnesota. Stefanski immediately knew what to do. With a great running back duo between Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, Stefanski leaned into the running game, and with less pressure on the star quarterback, the result was an instant success. Baker put up an efficient 3,500 yards, 26 passing touchdowns, and just 8 interceptions. The Browns got off to a fast 9-3 start, and soon they would finish the season 11-5. The Browns were set to face the Steelers in the first game of the playoffs. However, Stefanski was out with COVID, and Browns fans were nervous. Cleveland managed to put these worries to bed early. Pittsburgh could not take care of the football, and so the Browns jumped out to a 28-0 lead. The Browns would not be stopped, and they won the game 48-37. Cleveland was buzzing after a playoff win, but the job was not done, and so the Browns were headed to face Kansas City. After a slow start, they found themselves trailing 19-3 at halftime. Mayfield did enough to keep them in the game, and soon they found themselves within 5. But despite a Patrick Mahomes injury, the Chiefs managed to hold on. The Browns would lose 22-17, and even though their season was over, there was still plenty to be proud of. Going into the 2021 season, the Browns were Super Bowl contenders. It seemed like it was headed that way as well, as the Browns started 3-1, but soon they would find themselves struggling once again. After a Week 6 loss against the Cardinals, Baker Mayfield aggravated a torn labrum injury that he suffered in Week 2. But consistent with Mayfield's attitude, he didn't want to sit on the sidelines and instead chose to play through his injury. Mayfield was not the same player before and after the injury. In 2021, he was sacked 43 times and he barely managed to crack the 3,000 yards passing mark while throwing just 17 touchdowns and 13 interceptions en route to an 8-9 record. Cleveland struggled to close out many close games. They didn't have the edge they once had a year prior, and now all the pressure was on Mayfield, and many thought he wasn't the guy to lead the Browns anymore. But while Mayfield struggled in 2021, another quarterback was in a problematic situation. Houston Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson sat out the entire 2021 season due to dealing with a large amount of sexual misconduct and sexual assault allegations. The Texans were desperate to move on from Watson, but finding a trade partner was difficult. Despite the problematic and troubling allegations, teams were still interested in the star quarterback. The Texans found 4 potential trade partners, being the Carolina Panthers, the New Orleans Saints, the Atlanta Falcons, and the Cleveland Browns, each of whom were looking for a new franchise quarterback. For a while, it seemed like the Saints were going to get a deal done, but suddenly, on March 15th, the Browns found themselves in talks with Houston. And that same day, Mayfield took to Twitter and put out a cryptic statement thanking Cleveland for the past 4 years. In the statement, Mayfield said, "I have given this franchise everything I have. That is something I've always done at every stage and every level, and that will not change wherever I take my next snap." Soon, the relationship between Mayfield and the Browns would sour even more, and around March 17th, Mayfield requested a trade from Cleveland, telling ESPN that the relationship between himself and the Browns was too far to mend. Things got quiet between the Browns and the Texans, but on March 18th, both sides found a breakthrough. Watson was on his way to Cleveland, which meant that the Baker Mayfield era was over. Eventually, Cleveland would find a suitable partner, and finally, on July 6th, the Browns and the Panthers reached an agreement to send Mayfield to Carolina. Throughout the offseason, Mayfield did enough to impress the Panther coaching staff, winning the starting job in Carolina. Deshaun Watson would be suspended for 6 games, but after the NFL appealed the suspension, Watson's absence was extended to 11 games. It remains to be seen if the move will even pay off or if the Browns truly found a guy that will take them to the next level. For Mayfield, his future is uncertain. A second chance with the Panthers could make or break his NFL career. And while the Browns spoiled Mayfield's revenge game to open the 2022 NFL season, Mayfield did show flashes of his full potential. Mayfield has had a rough NFL career, partially due to his interesting character. He's always been a competitive and fiery player, but his attitude may cause issues on and off the field. However, it's a part of who he is, and if he is on the field, he'll still give it his all no matter what. I think Baker Mayfield may be the most misunderstood player. He's not perfect, but his goal has always been to win. And even with a messy exit from Cleveland, he still stands as the only Browns quarterback in recent history to lead the Browns to a playoff victory. And for that, he deserves a lot of respect. Mayfield has the ability and the potential to be a solid quarterback in the NFL. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out that way in Cleveland. The fact that the relationship between Mayfield and the Browns fell apart so fast only serves as a reminder to NFL fans that nothing is predictable and that anything can happen. Make sure to follow Phenom on all socials to support our talented young contributors and keep a lookout for new content on the way. Want more? Take a look at this video for another amazing story. Thank you for your time, and we hope you enjoyed.